So today's going to be a quick math lesson on on just learning about the basics of linear equations in one variable. So first, let's learn about just what any linear equation is, and after that, we'll just get into the practice problems. And by the end of the video, you should hopefully be able to master the basic concepts of linear equations. And yeah, so let's begin our video, and we'll just learn about what linear equations are. First, we'll learn about what linear is. Then we'll learn about what equations is, and then we'll learn about the entire concept of linear equations in one variable, and then we'll get into like problems that involves only one variable in linear equations. So we'll just start off with learning about what the words linear and equation mean. We'll start off with equation. We're learning a linear equation is actually a type of equation, but what is an equation itself? An equation is actually a statement of equality involving 1, a variable, and 2, a constant. So what exactly is a statement of equality? Well, a statement of equality is a mathematical statement that consists of an equal sign. And if that mathematical statement with an equal sign also consists and involves variables and constants, it is said to be an equation. All right. So now let's learn. Now that we understand what now that we understand what equation means, now let's learn about the word linear. Linear, just to basically understand linear just means anything with a straight line. So if I were to just draw this random straight line, this right here is said to be a linear figure. So in math, a linear equation is supposed to mean that any equation when it's drawn in a graph, all the points, all like the values, it will just form a pure straight line. That's what it means by linear equation, and that's what it means by linear. But just to understand linear equations at a basic level, it's basically an equation in which the max power, remember this, it's only in linear equations, the max power of the variable, has to be 1. The maximum power of the variable has to be 1. But what does power mean? What's variable? Just basic concepts. I'll just, right off the bat, just teach you guys. So let's suppose we have the equation 5x plus 3 is equal to 8. Let's suppose. This equation right here is actually a linear equation in one variable. But how? What does it mean by maximum power of a variable is 1? What do they mean by it? Well, as we know, we probably know what power is. Like power, let's say we have the random number x. There's a little number on top. Power is what they mean. Let's say the maximum power should be 1. So if it's 2, if the power of the variable or the power of the unknown is 2, that's not a linear equation. But let's suppose it's x and then there's nothing on top. If there's nothing on top, it means the power of the variable is 1, which makes it a linear equation, one variable. Let's look back at our equation, 5x. The variable is x right here. And in x, there's no other number like 2. Nope, there's not any 2. There's no 3 on top of x. It's just plain, which you should know that it's 1. And since the maximum power of this variable, max right here, is 1, this makes, because it's 1, it makes this equation a linear equation in one variable. Or in other words, basically an equation in which the maximum power of the variable is 1. So now let's finally get into the practice problems of linear equations in one variable concept. So our first equation is just an easy one, just to understand the basics. 5x plus 2 is equal to 7. So this is how they're going to ask in the test, and they're going to say, find the value of x. Or x is our variable, the unknown. Find the value of x. how do you do this? Well, they're giving you the equation 5 multiplied. If there's just a constant and a variable, you have to assume that's they're being multiplied in algebra. If it's like this, 5 times an unknown number added to 2 gives 7. What is this unknown? How exactly do we find it? Well, one thing to remember is this is a linear equation, one variable. All linear equations in one variable have one and only one unique solution. So there cannot be two solutions. It's just one and only one unique solution. So if there's only one equation, then there's obviously if there's only one solution, then there has to be one answer. So 5x plus 2 is equal to 7 has to have only one solution. But what is that one solution? Well, to do this, it's pretty easy. Basically, there are 3 different methods to solving linear equations in one variable. So we'll just go with the first. So we'll just solve it in the most common method, and the method that it's probably easy to understand as any problem, and that's called balancing, or basically doing the same operation on both sides. What do you mean by this? So basically, in this equation, we want to turn this plus 2 to a 0 on this side. This is called the left-hand side. Anything on the left, we want to get rid of this 2 because 2 is a constant and it's not a number. It's not a term. Or a term is basically an algebra number, which there's with the constant and a variable. It's called a term. Since 2 is not a term, we want to just cancel this out. But we can't just easily cancel it out. We have to turn the 2 into a 0, but we can't just simply turn the 2 into a 0. So we'll do something called balancing, or basically we do the same equation on the both sides. So to do this, we have to do 5x plus 2 minus 2, because 2 minus 2 will make 0, and we want to cancel this out. So if to cancel it out, we have to make it 0 is equal to 7 minus 2. Alright, try to make it a different color to understand. 5x plus 2 minus 2 is equal to 7 minus 2. As you can see, we're doing the same operation of minus 2 on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And by doing this, we're canceling out the 0, and we shouldn't worry about it because in algebra, we can't just simply cancel it out. We have to do the same operation on both sides to balance it. Alright, hope you guys understood. So we'll just go back to this equation right here. So 5x plus 2 minus 2 is 0, so that means it's 5x. We don't even have to write plus 0 because 0 is nothing, and 7 minus 2 is 5. So 5x plus 5. Still, how can we solve this? Well, whenever there's a term and just one number on the side, it's pretty easy to solve it. What you do is you do x, basically we want to get rid of the 5 because we have to make sure that by the end of the linear equation, to actually solve it, the variable has to be on the left-hand side, and all the constants, or the final answer, has to be on the right-hand side. That's our goal. That means we have to cancel this 5, but how? We have to make this value a 0, and then we also have to make this value. We have to do the same operation that we're doing on this side to make the 5 a 0, also on this side. So you cancel 5, we have to make it a 0 and do the same operation on the right-hand side. So let's say we do 5x divided by 5. By doing 5x divided by 5, we're actually being able to cancel out the 5. Why? Because you guys probably know in fractions, 5 cancel, and also since we're doing the balancing method, we have to do 5, and then since we're dividing 5 in the left-hand side, we do the same operation on the right-hand side. 5x divided by 5, 5 divided by 5. What does this equal? Well, you guys already know how to cancel it out, so that means x is equal to 5 divided by 5 is 1. So this means that we already have our answer right here. X is equal to 1. So now that we got our answer, we just did this by doing, a bunch of work of balancing it out. Now that we got our answer of x is equal to 1, how do we actually know whether we got it correct? Now in linear equations or any other equation, we do this method called substitution, where basically we put this value into the equation to see if it actually works. So now I'll go back to our equation. 5x plus 2 is equal to 7. What if x is equal to 1? will this value satisfy the equation? 5 times 1 plus 2, you guys should know order of operations is equal to 7. And then you do 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. This, since the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, this proves that the equation is correct, and this value is correct. So we just solved a linear equation in one variable with a lot of work. Well, not so much. We just have to learn the basics, and yeah, we're able to solve it.